Captain's log. Stardate 170129. How's everyone doing this week? I'm doing okay. Been away for a little bit. Doing some retooling. Had a few things get passed, like my 6-month certification, which good to go. So with that being said, let's have some fun. This week's unofficial sponsor of this entry, our friends over at Cat Sky. www.facebook.com/official Cat Sky page. That's cat with a K. Is that even the right? Yes, it is. Official Cat Sky page. KATSKYPAGE. She is a lovely lady, a big old Star Trek fan like me. Hey, get out there, show her some support, let her know I sent you. Did you know that she single-handedly was responsible for quadrupling my fan base on my first night? I went from 32 to 128. I think that was the official count. But hey, let's get past this. Let's do what we got to do. I'm changing things up a little bit. First, we need a beverage. 1 BOC, cold. Ooh, a good one. Good one. I don't think I've featured this on Prosper in a while. We are going to Chimay Blonde. I believe this is blonde. I'm looking. I think this is the blonde one. It's 8%. The weaker of the three, I think. It's either the weaker or the middle of the branch, or the middle of the two. I know the blue one's the strong one. But hey, I don't need an opening device for this. It's right here. Listen to that pop. Like pulling your head out of your ass, like all these Patriots fans need to do. But no. This week it's Star Trek. Next week, plan on doing a Super Bowl show. Well, not exactly a Super Bowl show, but I am going to talk a lot more football. Kapla! All right. So like I said, this week, I'm changing things up a little bit. I'm going to change up the order. Instead of doing the shout-outs first, I want to go right into the data banks. This week's entry, The Empath. Spoiler alert! All right. Here we go. The Enterprise... scroll too far. My computer's being slow, being kind of stupid. Being a Patriots fan. Hang on just a moment. Okay, there we go. The Enterprise is ordered to evacuate a research station on planet Minara 2, whose sun, Minara, is about to go nova. Captain Kirk, Commander Spock, and Dr. McCoy beam down to the planet. They find the 6-month-old research station abandoned, with dust covering the floor and desks, indicating the station has been uninhabited for some time. Informed by Scotty of an imminent solar flare with high levels of cosmic rays, Kirk immediately orders Scotty to take the Enterprise out of orbit, reasoning that the landing party will be protected by the planet's atmosphere during the 74.1 solar hours it will take for the flare to subside. I just wonder exactly how long is a solar hour. I don't know. Upon consulting a visual tape recording, the landing party discovers that the two researchers, Doctors Ozaba, not Osama or Obama, Doctors Ozaba and Link, had mysteriously disappeared 3 months earlier amid a flurry of seismic activity and deafening noise. Soon after this discovery, the landing party similarly vanishes while hearing the same noise. Excuse me. Moments later, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy find themselves 121.32 meters below the planet's surface, transported by a matter-energy scrambler similar to their transporter technology. After wandering through a cavern, they encounter a humanoid woman reclining on a dimly lit, cross-shaped couch. McCoy wants to go forward because she looks harmless, but Spock reminds him that the sand bats of Manarak 4 look like inanimate rock crystals until they attack. The woman awakens but does not respond to any of Kirk's questions. McCoy determines that she does not have any vocal cords, not even vestigial, indicating she comes from a species of mutes. Kirk observes that she is very much like the naturally mute people of the civilization on Gamma Vertus 4. Excuse me. McCoy names her Gem, Gem. Two different-looking humanoid aliens suddenly appear to the landing party, identifying themselves as Vians, Than and Lal. They make it clear that they know the identities of the landing party. They demand that Kirk not interfere, and when he approaches, they stun him with a handheld control device with a red button on the face. Kirk points out that if the Vians know who they are, they must also know that they come in peace and that their prime directive prohibits interference. The Vians momentarily trap the landing party in a force field while they tend to Gem. McCoy tells Kirk not to fight the force field since it interferes with the body's metabolism. The Vians correct McCoy's hypothesis, saying that the field draws its strength from their body's energy, and the more they resist, the stronger the field becomes. They depart, and the field vanishes. Kirk has suffered a cut on his forehead, and when he touches Gem to see if she is all right, she recoils in pain. Gem composes herself and then touches Kirk's wound. With a flash, the wound is transferred to Gem's forehead. A doubting Kirk touches her wound and notes the blood on his finger. Suddenly, the wound on Gem's head quickly heals as well. McCoy, observing, is clearly impressed by her ability to heal and surmises that Gem is an empath. Her emotional system is so sensitive that it feels the pain of another, and that pain becomes part of her before she dissipates it. Spock finds that his tricorder now gives readings of electronically sophisticated devices elsewhere. Heading to the source of the readings, they find a laboratory with the deceased doctor's link in Ozaba trapped in clear tubes marked with their names, their bodies twisted in agony. There are also tubes designated for McCoy, Kirk, and Spock. One of the Vians appears and says there is need for more testing. He blames the weakness of Ozaba and Link's bodies for their deaths. While Kirk talks, Spock sneaks up behind and gives the Vian a Vulcan neck pinch. As the landing party walks off toward a passage to the surface Spock has located, the Vian arises. Apparently, the nerve pinch was less effective than normal. He joins his companion, and they share a look that indicates they are impressed with the crew. At the surface, Kirk tries to contact the Enterprise with his communicator, but the ship is out of range. He leads the landing party through a storm back to the abandoned research station, where it appears to them that Scotty, Lemley, and a security officer are waiting for them. Spock and McCoy go ahead with Gem, but Kirk spots the Vians watching them and stops. He moves towards them, but one uses his weapon to make Kirk move in slow motion. He remarks, "Their will to survive is great. They love life greatly to struggle so. The prime ingredient." When Spock, McCoy, and Gem reach the research station, the images of Scotty and the security officer suddenly vanish. Gem brings Spock and McCoy back to where Kirk is confronting the Vians. They announce that they only need one specimen, so Kirk sends the others back to the ship. The Vians transport them away and then recapture Kirk. The Vians bring back Kirk to the laboratory. Here, where the bodies of Ozaba and Link are displayed like specimens, the Vians chain a shirtless Kirk by his arms to the ceiling. Go figure, right? They tell him they want to witness his courage and will to survive. Kirk asks, "Why? What is it you hope to prove? If my death is to have any meaning, at least tell me what I'm dying for." Than says that if Kirk lives, he will have his answer. Using their hand devices, they torture Kirk, as Gem watches helplessly. Spock and McCoy have been transported to the chamber where they originally met Gem. When Kirk and Gem are also transported there, Spock and McCoy are trapped in a force field. With McCoy's encouragement, Gem heals Kirk's wrist wounds. When she finishes, she collapses. The process is physically draining and, apparently, has its limits. The Vians return and indicate that for their next experimental subject, Kirk must choose either Spock or McCoy. To make the decision all the more difficult, the Vians indicate that there is a 93% chance that Spock will suffer brain damage and permanent insanity, and an 87% chance that McCoy will die. Spock analyzes a confiscated Vian hand device. McCoy, uncomfortable with the weight, comments that it's not natural for a human to live underground. Spock points out that some humans spend the majority of their lives beneath the surface. McCoy responds, "I'm a doctor, not a coal miner." One of those famous "I'm a doctor" lines. Spock tells McCoy that he is recording his notes of the hand device in the tricorder in the event that he is taken by the Vians so that McCoy and Kirk can continue his work and escape. McCoy further protests, adding that he's not a mechanic and doubts he would be able to make it functional. Spock assures him that between the two of them together will be able to figure it out. Plagued with symptoms resembling the bends, Kirk is caught off guard by McCoy, who renders Kirk unconscious from behind with a hypospray. Now finding himself in command, Spock declares that he will go with the Vians at the appointed time, but McCoy sneaks behind Spock, who has momentarily been distracted by Jem, and renders him unconscious as well, intending to sacrifice himself for his two friends. All of these noble efforts at self-sacrifice are observed by Jem. Taken to the Vian's laboratory, McCoy undergoes extensive torture. Meanwhile, now awake, Spock has come to understand the Vian handheld devices. They are control units, not control mechanisms. They are not a mechanical device at all. They are tuned to the pattern of electrical energy of the person who uses it and are activated simply by mental commands. Being most familiar with his own brain pattern, Spock retunes the device to his own pattern. Kirk points out that it is strange that the Vians let them keep the device if they would be able to understand it. They must want Spock and Kirk to escape and to leave McCoy behind. Spock completes the modifications and says he may only be able to affect one transport. He suggests there is enough energy to go back to the Enterprise, but Kirk would prefer to go to McCoy, stating the best defense is a strong offense, and I intend to start offending right now. Spock transports Kirk, Jem, and himself to the laboratory where they find McCoy severely injured and on the verge of death. The Vians are nowhere to be found. Spock and Kirk release McCoy from his chains. He's in bad shape with barely a pulse. Spock scans McCoy and finds that he has severe heart damage, congestion in both lungs, and his circulatory system is in danger of collapse. He is bleeding into the chest, his spleen and liver are hemorrhaging, and his kidneys have 70% failure. Spock informs Jem that McCoy is dying, and the best he can do is make him comfortable. McCoy compliments Spock on his bedside manner. Kirk suggests that Jem could heal McCoy, but he is not sure if the attempt will kill her. At least he hopes she can improve his condition so that McCoy can be healed on the Enterprise. Suddenly the Vians appear and trap Spock and Kirk in a force field. They demand that the human and Vulcan not interfere and allow Jem to make her own choice without urging or forcing. It is their wish to see if Jem will attempt to help McCoy on her own at the cost of her own life, the completion of their test. At this time, they explain to Kirk, Spock, and the dying McCoy that they have been part of the experiment. They have the power to save only one species from the impending nova, and so they wish to test whether Jem's species is worthy of being saved. Apparently, the Vians want to be certain that she has learned the principles of self-sacrifice, the will to survive, the passion to know, and the love of life from her contact with the landing party. These qualities, they say, make a civilization worthy to survive. As they speak, Jem has approached McCoy. The Vians are pleased that compassion has entered her life system. She moves her hands over McCoy's face, transferring his injuries to her. McCoy awakens, but Jem collapses, sobbing. She tries to help him more, but moves away in fear. Inside the force field, Spock points out that Jem is not the only one who can save McCoy. Of course, the Vians must have the power to help. The Vians respond that McCoy's life is not important, but what is important is their experiment. McCoy starts coughing, and Jem returns to his side. McCoy asks that Jem not touch him. If she touches him, she will die, and he cannot take life, even to save his own. Spock realizes that if he and Kirk were to suppress their emotion, they would be able to escape from the force field. Spock escapes first and takes the other control device from the Vians. Kirk demands that the Vians save McCoy, but they refuse, demanding that the experiment continue. Offering to give her life, they say, is not sufficient. She must sacrifice her life. Kirk gives the Vians their control devices and reprimands them. They have forgotten what it means to feel the emotions they want Jem to experience. He scorns their lack of love and compassion, saying that they are nothing but intellect. Excuse me. The Vians heal McCoy and, taking Jem with them, teleport from the laboratory, presumably to save Jem's species. The landing party returns safely to the Enterprise, which is returned to orbit after the solar flare subsided. Back on board, Kirk says he is awed by the element of chance that brought them into contact with Jem. Scotty observes that she must have been like the pearl of great price, Matthew 13:45-46 of the Human's Christian Bible, as so it states on Memory Alpha. McCoy is pleased that in the end, it was the strength of human emotion that overcome their captivity by the dispassionate, intellectual Vians. Scotty suggests that the Vulcans be made aware of this, and Kirk asks Spock to deliver the message. Spock sarcastically promises to give the thought all the due consideration it deserves. Kirk then orders Sulu to take the Enterprise to Warp Factor 2. So there's your look into the databanks on the episode The Empath. Not a bad episode, not the best, but not a bad one. I'm not going to lie. All right, so databanks have been taken care of. Let's do the most important part of the show, which, I'm still trying to jumble around, figure things out. Let's go to the birthdays. Let's go to all the greetings. I've got birthdays and an additional greeting this week. So let's get it started. First birthday this week, my dear cousin living in I think she's living in New York, Diane Ryan Bono. Cousin Diane, how's life treating you? What's going on? Hope you're doing well. I hope this finds you okay. And hey, drink one of these with me, will you? After talking Trek, I needed a little bit of a drink, especially that one. Like I said, there are definitely worse out there. All right, next on the list, I worked with this guy when I was living in off Deutschland. Ben Basagalapi. We always called him B11. One short of my favorite vitamin, B12. What's up, man? How you doing? I hope this finds you well. Hope you're doing okay. You look like you're doing good for yourself. Hey, you know what? I hope that keep it up, my friend. This one's for you. Next on the list, I have known this gal practically my entire life. I haven't seen her. Well, I saw her the last time I saw her. I want to say it was at your mother's wedding. Andrea Chenoweth, sister of my own brother Josh. Andrea, how are you doing? How are things going for you? I haven't heard from you in a while. I hope you're doing okay. Oh, think we got hit by a torpedo. I don't know. But Andrea, I'm not sure if you drink. If you do, have one with me. If not, this is for you. Next on the list, I actually met this gentleman back right after Thanksgiving, right after my gallbladder surgery. Good dude, kind of a goofy guy, but he's all right. Corey Jernigan. What's up, OJ? You been watching sports and things? Watching the guy put the ball in the net to score a goal with a stick after he rounds the bases? I don't know. Hey, man, keep doing what you're doing. This is for you. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. That one snuck up on me out of nowhere. Next birthday on the list, I actually met this gal. Let's see, it was a little over 3 years ago. Nikki Fortier, the wife of one of my awesome sponsors, Wally Fortier. Nikki, how'd the move go for you? Everything good? Did everything get there? Everything make it? Are you doing good? Is there anything I can do to help? Is there anything you need? Hey, let me know. Hit me up sometime. Look forward to seeing you again someday. All right, final birthday for this week. I have yet to meet her in person, but like me, she is a diehard Colts fan. The best there is. Sharol Kent. Sharol, what's going on? How you doing? Hope this finds you well. Hope you're doing good. You know, just keep on keeping on. I have a feeling things are going to get a little bit better. Something's telling me they are. Hey, this one's for you. And I have one additional greeting. Y'all probably saw this one coming out of left field. This one goes out to Josh Baker. Now, Josh, God love you. The football contest you and I did was good. It was good. It was fun. And you know what? I'm looking forward to next year where we can start on week 1. Start on the first week. Get everything figured out, squared away, whatnot else. Now, this one's not actually from the day of the show, but Mr. Baker pulled off Colts gear. It's the second time he's looked good on his show. But Josh, my friend, where's my stuff? Come on, man. You gotta send me my stuff out. You also know what else I'm wanting from you, too. But hey, my friend, my brother, if it wasn't for you, Prosper would not exist. I'm looking forward to trying to get back into it. This is for you. It's dead, Jim. Ooh, I still got a half a bottle. Time to top up. Let's make this thing go. Still a little bit left. Will I be able to kill this? Probably. All right, let's see here. Okay. Greetings taken care of. No football this week. I don't have any football to talk about, but let's talk about a little bit about Trek history. We only have a couple items to talk about this week. I am including this one because I found it interesting, and I think y'all should know about it. January 26, 1979. Star Trek The Motion Picture wraps after 121 shooting days. Over schedule and over budget. The last scene to be filmed. Commander Decker's fusion with V'ger. Which, very ironic that was the last scene filmed, even though that was not the last scene shown. And January 27th, 1940, actor James Cromwell was born. He has played many parts in the Star Trek universe, but probably the part he is best known for is Zefram Cochrane, Star Trek First Contact. Zefram Cochrane, the inventor of warp drive. He turned 77. All right. Now we got that figured out. Let us go back to the episode, but we're going to go behind the scenes this time. This episode was written by Joyce Musket, one of only 4 fans who were able to sell scripts to the original series. The others being David Gerrold, which we know about his contribution. That one actually stands the test of time. Judy Burns and Jean Lassette Aroeste, Aroeste. Co-producer Robert Justman read her unsolicited script and recommended it be bought. It was Musket's only script sale. That's too bad, you know. This was one of the few episodes to quote the Bible, specifically Psalm 95, verse 4. In his hands are the deep places of the earth. The height of the mountains are his also. In the Gospel of Matthew 13:45 through 46, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchantman, seeking godly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. The Empath has similarities to a 1963 Outer Limits segment called Nightmare. In that episode, humans are brutally interrogated by aliens in a minimalistic set. John Erman also directed Nightmare. William Sage, who played Thawne, was one of those behind the interrogations, and Bob Justman was, at the time, an assistant director on the series. In the United Kingdom, the BBC skipped this episode in all runs of the series through to the early 1990s. I'm going to have to slam this here in a little bit. An official BBC statement by Sheila Cundy of the program correspondence section reads, after very careful consideration, a top-level decision was made not to screen the episodes entitled Empath, Whom Gods Destroy, Plato's Children, and Mary, actually transmitted in 1970, but not re-aired until the 1990s. Because they all dealt most unpleasantly with the already unpleasant subjects of madness, torture, sadism, and disease. BBC from letter, undated, reference, so on and so forth. The Empath was finally shown for the first time on 5 January 1994. It had previously been shown on Sky One, a subscription satellite TV channel. I think it's basically their version of HBO. You know, I can't remember if they have HBO over there or not. It's been a while since I've been there. Excuse me. Though identified as Thon and Lal in the closing credits, the two Vians are never called by their proper names on screen. In Turnabout Intruder, Kirk, in Janice Lester's body, mentions the events of this episode to try to convince Spock of the Mind Switch. Which, was a weak finale. I'd have to watch that one and These Are the Voyages to see which one was worse. Excuse me. I went up the nose. Careful. Cross his nose, not up it. Sound effects of the Vian's laboratory were previously used in the android Norman's lab in I'm Mud. I remember Norman. The footage of the sun Manara is reused from Operation Annihilate. Excuse me, I apologize. The planet Manara 2 appears red in some orbital shots, but gold in others. The helical staircase in the station was later reused in For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. The couch itself is a gigantic version of the agonizer seen in Mirror Mirror and Day of the Dove. It was first seen as the iMorg's table in Spock's brain. I don't remember that. Wait, maybe I do. I don't know. I'll have to go back. Helical staircase. iMorg's table. Here we go. The tripodal device in the center of the Vian laboratory also appeared first in the episode Spock's Brain as the framework connected to the black box by light rays that house Spock's brain. It is inverted here from its position in that episode. The orange-red flickers that accompany the Vian transporter effect are frames of the same effect created to represent the Medusan Ambassador Kolis. This is the only episode whose first act credits open on a completely black background. By God, it is, isn't it? The preview of the episode shows Gem's healing of wounds done by jump cuts, rather than as fades. Regarding the sequence of Gem absorbing the boils, Catherine Hayes had to be strapped to a board in order to be kept absolutely still while makeup was applied and stop-motion photography filmed the progression. The few moments that appeared in the scene took 8 hours to film. Oh my God. Hey, I give you the Prosper salute on that one, Miss Hayes. John Meredith Lucas was originally hired to direct this episode, and For the World is Hollow, and I Have Touched the Sky. But Paramount executive in charge of production, Doug Kramer, vetoed his involvement, as he went over schedule and budget with Elon of Troyes earlier in the season. Then, Robert Justman came up with the idea of hiring John Erman because of his involvement with the aforementioned Nightmare. Excuse me. This was the final episode shot by director of photography Jerry Finnerman, who had shot every episode since the Corbin maneuver, with the exception of By Any Other Name and parts of Who Mourns for Adonius, however you pronounce it. Camera operator Al Francis took over primary camera duty on the next episode filmed, which was the Tholian Web. Yeah, for some reason, the episodes of the original series were shown out of order from when they were actually shot. I don't know why. After Dr. McCoy is tortured by the vines, the distressed tunic that DeForest Kelley is wearing is the velour tunic used in the first 2 seasons. Excuse me. Not the new double knit version created for the third. The difference in hue between Spock's tunic and McCoy's can be noticed in certain shots. Nichelle Nichols and Walter Koenig do not appear in this episode. And finally, according to the Star Trek calendar in 1986, this was the late DeForest Kelley's personal favorite episode. Lots of good stuff in there. Lots of good stuff. All right, behind the scenes. That's it. Time to slam this dude. Part 2. Instead, Jim. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know I've been off and on with Prosper here lately. But at the same time, got a lot going on. I'm doing the best I can. But with that being said, I want to thank you for the time you gave to watch this. Taking time out of your lives to spend with me as we talk Trek. However you're doing it, thank you so much and keep on keeping on. Oh, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed time to make like the Enterprise and warp out. So I want everybody to take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. More importantly, might kill yourself or somebody else. And drinking and driving is dumber than being a Twilight fan. The only thing worse than that is root for cheating bastards like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl, and I'm playing in my 5th Super Bowl, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose to Matt Ryan. Brady, men slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who watch on bets, which Josh Baker is not, and anyone who's a member of, supports, or defends ISIS, the website Agony Booth, or the Westboro Baptist Church. Did you know they tried to picket Leonard Nimoy's funeral? True story. They tried, but they couldn't get it done because they couldn't find it. Things like that are highly illogical, and I will not make time for them. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I wish you all live long and prosper.